Welcome, everybody. I can see we got a long list of people who've joined. That's great. There we go. Super. So welcome, everybody. Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to the Greening Government Initiative fall session. Very happy to have everybody. I'm Nick Senis. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Greening Government at the Treasury Board Secretariat in the Government of Canada. And I'll pass it over to Paulo to introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Paulo Magina. I'm the head of the Infrastructure and Public Procurement Division at the OECD Public Governance Directorate.
Excellent. We've got a great lineup for you today. As you know, the Greening Government Initiative is a community of practice where countries that are greening their government operations come together and we get to learn from each other and share our experience. Some are at the beginning of the journey, some are further ahead and been doing this for a few years. And so this is a great example of us sharing our information, finding out what other countries are doing, and accelerating our journey to greening our government operations and taking climate action in our own national governments, which are often some of the biggest footprints in our countries. So we can show leadership in greening our operations and take action. A couple of notes just for the meeting. We will record the session. Some countries have asked if they can have a recording, so we will record the session. We also have interpretation available, and so you just need to click on your little more button, and then there's an interpretation available, and it's in French and Spanish, I believe. Is that right, Paula? Okay, perfect. So we have French, Spanish, and English. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please use the chat, or you can use the Q&A as well, or just raise your hand and we can recognize you. So there's many ways to participate. So we encourage as much participation as you want to be active, which is great. So feel free to introduce yourselves if you have comments or questions, and then you could present. Any questions or any comments before we start? All right, here we go. So our first, as you know, the Greening Government Initiative has continued over the years. We've developed different working groups. Throughout the years, I used to co-chair with the US, and now I'm the chair, but of course we have generous support from the OECD, from Paulo and his team. We're all here. And Leslie Ann on my team has been supportive. We've also been able to create different working groups in different areas over the years. And one of the working groups that's been active, which has been super, is the Climate Capacity Working Group, which has been a super working group looking at climate literacy, climate capacity of public servants to implement climate action in their work, and looking at different options to do that and different ways to do that and share information on that. So we have today Erin Murray from our Environment and Climate Change Canada department, and she's been working with the working group and can provide us an update on their work. So over to you, Erin.
Fantastic. Thanks, Nick. Let's get my screen set up here. Okay, can you see that all right?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Moving the pieces around. Okay, thank you so much for having me today. As mentioned, my name is Erin Murray. I'm a policy advisor with the Strategic Environmental and Economic Assessment Secretariat in Environment and Climate Change Canada. And I'm very excited to get to report back here on the awesome work and dialogues that have been happening with our working group on climate capacity. And you will see that and nature put in there. I'll speak to that a little bit in the future slides here. So a quick overview of what I want to chat through today with you all. I want to talk a little bit about the establishment and original purpose of the working group, provide a bit of a reflection on our first year, spotlighting some successes and lessons that we've learned, and warmly invite you to join the conversation as we move into year 2 and a little foresight into what that might look like. So the original purpose of the climate working group was to explore and support practices, challenges, and research questions for implementing and scaling climate capacity for national government public service employees. Overall, this has been such a beneficial way to share opportunities and barriers around the globe and get a chance to find existing tools and training, discuss common challenges and solutions, and overall have a supportive space to be able to bring questions to the table and work through them with our counterparts across the world. We know we are in an era of rapid onset climate impacts. We're all grappling with the importance of integrating climate and nature considerations across our respective civil services. And we know that there's a limiting factor in our capacity to do so, and the training needed to start building these climate and nature literacy foundations to make us capable governments in responding to these crises is a transformative challenge. And it's really been pointing to the importance of building these green skills, and climate and nature literacy is among that in its support of our capable governments. So I love this slide just to explain, we all know we come from very unique contexts in our respective countries, and we're starting from different points in this journey, but there is so much benefit to collaboratively exploring these questions together, seeing different pathways to this destination and being adapted to your own. You get to investigate different routes, see different perspectives and how we approach these things, go into deeper dives with people facing similar challenges and contexts, and also assess the level of risk, see various leadership being displayed and uplifted, and also recognize and appreciate our colleagues. This can be a hard field to be in, and it's so wonderful to get around a table and be able to appreciate and see all the amazing work happening globally. So quick reflections on our first year. The core function that this group really played was relationship building. They're serving as knowledge collaborators and co-creators, and supporting and strengthening the critical work of advancing climate and nature literacy among public servants. Our main lesson takeaway from the working group is that we're facing similar challenges. And though there's not one way of finding success or solving these challenges, there's value in focusing on everybody's successes and new opportunities to build on meaningful capacity. And in the next couple of slides, I'm going to spotlight 2 successes / great models for what this working group went through. First, with a survey we conducted through the OECD's network of School of Governments, and another around workshopping a curriculum brought forward by the UK Civil Service. So in the spring of 2025, in collaboration with the OECD Network of Schools of Government, we were able to launch a survey on skills for the green transition and for climate literacy. This launch followed a webinar on the same topic, which saw input from several national schools of government members or network of schools of government members. And the survey sought to understand how the schools of government that are members are equipping civil servants to build skills having to do with climate change and green issues. Here, our initial findings were that many countries have climate and nature training established, but we're seeing low uptake. So there is a continued desire for sharing best practices and highlighting opportunities for training and for upskilling. The survey also gave us some insight into where climate literacy training is going. The main focus here being on less siloing. This is where that and nature piece comes. In Canada, we're introducing our newest course offering of a nature course, outlining the really nature literacy vision for Canada here. And we're seeing similar conversations happening where it is not just climate mitigation, it is not just climate adaptation, it's not just biodiversity. There is problems to be seen in a holistic way, and we're aiming towards more convergence in how we talk about these problems and hope to be bringing forward what other groups are doing in the coming year around climate and nature. The second thing that we're seeing is a real thematic push towards learning paths and overarching curricula, not necessarily one-off products or services, but more guiding our public servant learners in their journey and how it relates to their work moving forward. And the third thing that we've been seeing is the need for audience segmentation. We have a variety of different learners, from executives to subject matter experts to general audience, and we're seeing lots of unique and novel approaches for reaching and connecting with those varying communities. The second spotlight that I want to share was in June 2025, we had the chance to workshop with some of our UK colleagues who brought forward their new climate, energy, environment curriculum, the CEE. And I want to showcase this example. It's so great to be able to come use this group, and collaboration was useful to understand the proposed structure that the UK was bringing forward. These foundational learning, applying a climate, energy, and environment lens with a toolbox of skills that looked at organizational change and risk management and equity in their work, and also provides ongoing professional development and curiosity. And by getting to workshop this with the group, it also helped other countries understand some of the approaches being done, and also the UK in the promoting and embedding of that learning within their civil service. So as we start to plan to move forward, we recognize that 2025 has been marked by global changes in climate and nature policy and social consensus. And we know that these can be challenging times for capacity building. We are having another working group meeting on October 29th, and we're currently canvassing members to hear about what work plans and priorities you may want to hear about. I want to note Brazil, the School of Government, has a very, very cool One Planet, One Chance Public Service Innovation Week that we'll be talking about and learning more from them in this great initiative. And we do have some tentative topics around that convergence piece I was speaking to. So thinking about mitigation, adaptation, and biodiversity together, as well as building learning paths and curriculum, and thinking about our audiences within the broader public service. So if this is something that seems of interest to you, or you recognize someone in your countries working on this, please reach out. We would love to learn what you're doing and share some more about what we're doing. This has been just such a wonderful opportunity to learn from each other and see how everyone's tackling these unique challenges. So I will pause there.
Okay, we can take questions, comments. Any questions or comments for Erin? One of the things I'd like to say is the great work and that we've partnered with Erin's team to look at training public servants, and it's very different what you said about segmentation, targeting different public servants. Some, folks in procurement, for example, don't attend all the climate change meetings and aren't aware of what all the climate change actions are. And so training procurement officers is very different than training program officers who are working on climate change programs. And it's very different than people who manage buildings, who don't, people who are in charge of procurement or manage buildings or manage vehicles don't know that they're on the front lines of taking action on climate. And that's where we've done a nice job with Erin's team to bridge them and make them aware that, yes, it's about heating and cooling buildings. It's about what kind of vehicles we drive. It's about what we buy is front and center if we're going to take climate action. So, Paulo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I may, and thanks for the presentation and for updating us on this. Here at OECD, we have been working with competency frameworks a lot in different fields, and Nick just mentioned procurement. And there are, great examples of using competency frameworks for advancing the capabilities of public procurement professionals and in other areas as well. And I was wondering, and we have been discussing this at OECD, if we are able to create or establish a sort of a competency framework that will allow public servants to understand what kind of skills and knowledge they need and competencies to be able to address the issues you just mentioned. Is this something that was ever considered in your discussions and the development of your training programs? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. Yes, so in Canada specifically, we are building out our current draft of our learning path, and that is based on a competency model kind of derived from things we've been hearing internationally and also in our research. And I know a few countries last kind of iteration of dialogues were bringing forward different approaches to their competency models. It's definitely something that we want to focus more on in our upcoming conversations as well, because it is showing such a helpful way of framing that, especially when you're targeting unique audiences, and as Nick was saying, these different communities, how do you break that out in a measurable means? So it's definitely something that's been very, very exciting to see and talked about.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I've switched to a headset. I'm hoping people can hear me better. Okay, good. D'autres questions, commentaires? Okay, super. Thank you, Aaron. That's great. Thanks for the update and good work by that working group.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move to our second topic. I'm very happy to welcome Ms. Gabriela Mareto Figueiredo from Brazil. Lots of action in Brazil these days, of course. And Gabriela will tell us a little bit about, give us an overview of their strategy on sustainable procurement and the links to COP, of course, where Brazil is gonna host the world. So over to you, Gabriela.
Thank you so much, Nick, and all. First of all, I would like to thank the colleagues from the Government of Canada and OECD for opening this space and for us to share a little bit what's happening here. I'm gonna share a presentation, so let me just find it here with you all. Okay.
Perfect. We see it.
Okay, that's great. So very nice to be with you all. So I'm Gabriela Mareto. I'm the director of the National Commission on Sustainable Public Procurement in the Ministry of Management and Innovation in Public Service of Brazil. It's important to highlight that I'm here especially to present the plan to accelerate sustainable public procurement, which is part of the COP30 action agenda. And Brazil is co-leading this plan together with UNEP and UNIDO, especially our colleagues from IGGI. So they are here attending the meeting I'm presenting, but this was developed together between these three institutions and with a huge support from our colleagues from Jataí Institute, which is NGO here from Brazil, focused on public procurement, and the University of Oxford. So they are all attending the meeting. And please, colleagues, feel free to jump in the presentation if you feel it's necessary. Okay, so Brazil, why MGI and Brazil is working with this agenda. So this is an overview that I would like to present to you. So Brazil has been working with the sustainable public procurement agenda in the Ministry of Management and Innovation in Public Services for the last years. We are developing, organizing, and structuring a whole of a government public policy bringing together different areas and organizing initiatives and concrete actions, deliverables, responsibles, so that we can strengthen and foster the agenda here in Brazil. The focus that we are working here in Brazil, it's combining the economic, social, and environmental dimensions. So it has been a huge challenge for us, but at the same time, an amazing opportunity to bring people together in this in this mission. We are launching now in the end of the year the national strategy for sustainable public procurement. So we are also very happy to share with you the Brazilian experience and the details of this whole process with you all if you're interested in some time. So feel free to to address that with us. But today we're going to focus on the COP30 action agenda because COP is next month, and we would like to share with you what's going on to understand other countries' interests, to listen to you all. So that's it. So the plan to accelerate sustainable public procurement that we are calling the PASS, it's inside the COP30 action agenda. The COP30 action agenda, I think it's important to highlight, it's not inside the negotiation of the declarations of COP. It's happening alongside. And the main idea of the action agenda is to bring together government, multilateral organizations, civil society, global initiatives together in the objectives of COP. And then the plan to accelerate solutions that they are calling is that we are calling is the tool, let's say, to organize in concrete actions, responsibles and deliverables, how to bring all these people together to achieve the objectives. So inside the COP30 action agenda, it's divided in objectives, and the objectives 22 is climate integrated public procurement. So in this objective, we have one plan to accelerate sustainable public procurement, which is the one that I'm presenting here to you. The solution is we are calling is harnessing public procurement in high impact sectors to drive climate action and just transition. We have other objectives may have more than one plan, but in our case of public procurement, we managed to bring the institutions together in order to have a more powerful plan, let's say. So the host initiatives, which are leading the solutions, as I mentioned, is Brazil, MGI, the ministry, UNEP, and UNID, especially IDDI. So our supporting partners until now is JGI Institute, Oxford Net Zero and Climate Policy Hub, University of Oxford. We have some also partners in Brazil. In Brazil, we have FAO, NOPS, ECLAC, UN Global Compact, UNDP. So it's a lot of supporting partners working in this agenda. But the idea is that we can reflect the partners in the actions that we are suggesting. Okay, let me see how. Okay, so here, wait. Okay. Now I think it's okay. So, what is the overall of this pass is to provide a global framework to harness government purchasing power as a driver of climate action aiming at just transition. That's very linked to what we are doing here in Brazil, having public procurement as a strategic tool to address sustainable development. So in this pass, we provide a systemic enable framework, as I'm going to show it to you, for SPP implementation, focus on strengthening institutional capacity, advancing life cycle and circularity criteria, fostering early market engagement. So this pass has this central point, which is bringing the market together since the beginning, and building and monitoring and accountability systems. So the importance of gathering evidence. So here we are working into what we call two complementary pathways. I'm going to share the presentation with all of you, so you can read it. It's better after the meeting if you want to. So the idea here is that we advance in sustainable public procurement frameworks, and at the same time, we have a focused look in green public procurement, in advancing low carbon products, especially in high impact sectors. Okay. So it's bringing together the work that we are doing here in Brazil with UNEP and UNIDO, that has this broad framework, but at the same time, the richness of a very granular work towards high impact sectors. So the four strategic levers across the sectors is I'm going to show you here. So the focus of this pass is on implementation, and the four strategic levers that we are working with are personalization, and as our work group colleague was talking before, the importance of capacity building and investing in building skills to apply a circular economy approaches, sustainable criteria in a consistent way. So the second point is the holistic value assessment, which we understand that we have to prioritize the tools, eco-labels, life cycle assessment, and bringing this approach towards value. The third point is the market development and engagement. So here the idea, as I mentioned, is to bring together multi-stakeholder value chain collaboration, institutional alignment, but the importance of bringing the actors in the beginning, especially the markets that will be involved in this transformation since the beginning. And then the fourth point is measuring impact. So I know that this part is a huge challenge for all of us that is working the agenda, but we also understand that we have been advancing in this agenda of monitoring and evaluation, and it's really important to work together towards harmonize the data, and also ways to measure the social, economic, and environmental impact in order for us to bring these three dimensions together. And what we want to get and doing this four strategic levers, what we want to get is a more efficient use of public resource while promoting social well-being and minimizing environmental impacts. Okay. The three outcomes that we are looking for in this path is the first one is scale the implementation of sustainable public procurement, and that reflects in goals related to countries implementing sustainable public procurement strategies to drive just climate transition, and also always supported by the technical assistance, which we understand that it's a really important point for that. And also being in the more specific framework, governments committed to implement green public procurement for low and near zero emission cement, concrete, and steel in public infrastructure projects, which are also very related to the work that IGGI has been doing in the last years and is together with us in this path. This is the outcome one. The outcome two is embedding holistic value in procurement decisions. So this is related to how we're gonna how many countries will be adopting this kind of tools in procurement process, which can give to us the idea of how this approach has been embedded in countries. Outcome three is strengthening accountability and evidence impact, also related to how countries, the number of countries that will report the implementation align with the Sustainable Development Goals, and also progress towards green procurement, public procurement in the high impact sectors. Okay. So these are the three outcomes that we are looking for. The initiatives that we already mobilized, as I told to you, is these ones that are here, and they have the expected outcomes. I'm not gonna be here in the details of that with you, but what we want to show to you is that it's been a big effort for us, but we understand that it's really strategic to bring to take the sustainable public procurement agenda to COP30 as this strategic tool to sustainable development. The idea is that we can what we are working with is that we can that we address broader global frameworks, how governments can address the agenda, but at the same time bringing together more specific and granular work with industry, with related to eco labels and certificates. So and I think this initiatives mobilize the focus areas and the expected outcomes for each one can have an idea of how we are all the time working with these two complementary approaches. So what is the call for action? So what this agenda is calling us to do? So all the plan, our plan is being made. We are developing it, thinking the opportunity actions that we can do from this are this type. So the first one is a global a call for action. The idea is to position sustainable public procurement as a strategic instrument to deliver sustainable development, climate, and just transition goals. Through coordinated government leadership, we are working with the possibility of having a high-level declaration of countries of how sustainable public procurement is important in that sense. The concreted milestones is the global call for action across pre-COP, COP, and post-COP events. And mobilize high-level government endorsement and joint statements from GGI and partner countries. So this is the global call for action. The other point that we are working with is collaborating and align, connect and scale efforts. So here the idea is to join or scale participation in global initiatives that are already happening and is very aligned with this objectives such as IDDI GPP pledge, the global framework for action on circular sustainable public procurement, and other agendas. Also, in this access, we are looking to align under COP30 agenda, shared metrics, standards, and cross-sector coherence. The third axis that we are working with is invest in implementation and build capacity and evidence. So here, our main point is to accelerate national implementation through professionalization, innovation, and results tracking. It support capacity building, technical assistance, and innovation to modernize procurement systems, which is really aligned with OECD's work in this agenda. And here comes a question that we are doing also for partners and countries, initiatives that we are willing to work with us, which is other opportunities, actions can be added with partners. Né? So here the idea is to also invite the countries and initiatives to look for this path and to hear opportunities and actions to collaborate in order to achieve this objective. Okay. So I think as next steps, because I think my time is already gone, and we are now going to open to questions and comments, which I think it's really important. We will, as next steps, share with you a form that we developed to collect the expressions of interest and inputs from the countries that are participating here and initiatives that are participating here now in this meeting. The idea is to identify supporters, partners, and focal points for implementation and international collaboration. So we're going to share with you these whole points and share with you the plan of action that we already developing. We are in the process of developing this pass because the submission is the 24th of October. So it's not a final plan. What we are sharing with you is most of the work, but we still can add some actions and partners. It's also an invitation to all of you. Even after we submit it to COP, then we're gonna have the COP time, and we are really open and welcome to discuss with other countries and initiatives how to improve actions in order to achieve our goals. And then as next steps, we're gonna have the launch of the plan to accelerate solution, this plan here. It's gonna be in the 12th of November. We are planning to do a high-level meeting in the Blue Zone in Belém. So it's a ministerial meeting. So it would be really nice to know the countries that are going to be there and are working with the agendas, so we can also invite for this launch. You're all welcome. And then as next steps, we're going to have a workshop also in the Blue Zone, Belém, Brazil. We don't have the date confirmed. We are hoping to be in the first week. So the idea is that during this workshop, together, especially with our partners that have been supporting us, which is Instituto Jataí and Oxford University, we can talk more in a more technical level in order to improve and foster the objectives of this pass. So I think that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. I cannot see you.
Yes, thank you, Gabriela. That was great. A great overview of the good work happening on green procurement and a good sort of overview of a lot of the things going on internationally. Super. So let's open it up for questions, comments. I have many, but let's open it up. Anybody who has a comment or question, you can put it in the Q&A or just chat or put your hand up. And while we wait a minute or so, 30 seconds for people to formulate their questions, happy to see the kind of key areas that you're working in. They all resonate very much for us in Canada. Analyzing our high impact categories, working through our supply chain, trying to measure progress, all things that we are doing in our sustainable procurement efforts. And so very much kind of, what we're dealing with. So, and we're happy to be supportive. And of course, we are involved in the IDDI on green construction materials and with the CFIT IT Pact. So, keen to learn from others and learn from what people are doing. Okay, questions, comments? I'll give people a minute.
Perhaps just a comment
Robert,
from,
yeah, go ahead.
thank you, Nick. And perhaps just a comment from me while we're waiting for others to consider some questions. And for everyone's benefit, so my name is Rob Addison. I'm from the OECD Secretariat. And thank you for the presentation, Gabriella. And mine is a comment, not a question, but just to say that the areas you've identified very much align with the areas of weakness that we see, or areas for further improvement that we see the countries that we work with need would benefit from focusing on. So, for example, we collect data from the 38 members on their green public procurement practices. And what we've observed is that while many countries already have green public procurement strategies in place and principles and objectives and targets, it's the implementation that is often weaker. And as well as that, often the measuring outcomes and knowing whether a country is on track to actually achieve its green objectives through its procurement is often an area that requires further improvement from countries. And equally, the skills development within government is often an area where we find with countries that is another area for further improvement in the future. So it just struck me as you were talking that you have through what you're describing, you've touched on all of the areas where we see countries need to focus their efforts into the future. Thank you.
We have a question in the chat, Gabriela. I don't know if you see it. If not, I can read it.
Sure, I'm able to read. Thank you, Jacob Garcia. Yeah, we share this difficult challenge to do market engagement, especially in Latin America. Uh, and we will how we are addressing that in the plan is actually very aligned with what we are developing in the national strategy in Brazil. So we have a governance component in terms of having specific and institutional bodies to include industry and market when we are developing the agenda and criterias for sustainable public procurement, also how to listen to them and what's the reality is happening and what the market is capable to do in how many years. That's a really important question that we are doing. But that's the point of developing the agenda. And towards in the implementation in terms of the procurement part and as it development, we are also working in systems capacity, making systems more helpful for that, for the engagement, which we understand it's important. So that's like very specific issues, but at the same time, we have been working the last years on how to diminish like the cultural resistance of parting that it's a problem, that's government and market to talk and listen to the supplier. It's important to do a good procurement. I think you all agree with me on that. But we every time like professionalization or when we are talking to seminars addressing the issue, this is always a very sensitive point that we are trying to address in these terms to encourage also uh, the creations of these mechanisms, dialogues between market and government. So this is basically some points to address. I don't know if I have some colleagues from IDDI that are attending. If you want to jump in to bring some IDDI also insights that will be components in our pass on this sense, you are very welcome to. Okay.
Okay, we have another question, but if I don't know if anyone from IDDI wants to chime in.
No,
Nope. Okay, so
no.
we have Saul. Oh, go ahead if you want to.
Hi, Sal.
Our fellow Canadian Saul. Hey, Saul. Maybe not. Okay. Um, we have another question. Oh, there you go. Saul says she can't open her mic. I don't know if is that a technical. Oh, there
Hi
you
there.
go. We can hear you. We can hear you, Saul.
Great. Thanks very much. Sorry about that. Yeah, so thanks very much for being asked to address a question about market engagement. At IDDI, we are focused, of course, on a very specific niche area of green public procurement, which is about embedding requirements for low emission materials into construction procurement for governments. And so we do, of course, address market engagement specific to those sectors. And we have guidance specifically on how our leading countries, the countries who have signed on to our pledge, how they conducted their preliminary consultations, how they engaged with the market in advance of setting those commitments. So, and I'll pop the link to that guidance into the chat. I think it's more easy to discuss that topic specific to particular sectors. Construction material sectors are very keen to engage with government in advance of procurement policy being set. So then perhaps another thing that I could mention in the IDDI pledge, we do have various levels. And our first level is called disclosure requirements. And that's really about sending a signal in advance to the marketplace that you are going to begin collecting, in the instance of IDDI, environmental product declarations to support procurement policy. And that is all about market engagement. That's really about sending the first signal to the marketplace in such an advanced time of setting the policy that it allows the market to get ready for the policy and also to comment on the policy as it's developed. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you, Saul. And we've got two more questions in the chat. One on from Angeles Molina on measuring and indicators, and one from Fabio Lopez on measures as part of the pass. An example within Brazil. I'll turn it over to you, Gabriela.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, so the measuring results questions. Also, if Unep, Ankita, Gina, if you are attending and want to jump in after, please feel free to. But the idea is that we have for the pass itself, the KPIs that we are working with is more the in results. So the number of countries that are adopting tools or working with SPP, and so it's more results in terms of impacts. We understand that, for example, as much as countries are aligned with the SDGs goals, then there are indicators to there also to work with. But the in the actions, so this is like the overall path. But when we have the actions of the past, then the indicators uh, will be focused on related to the actions. And I think this measuring issue, it's really hard for it's a challenge for all the countries. Uh, but it's really important at the same time that can we harmonize the challenges, you know? So the for how we are looking to data and what is important to address from data, it's and I think it's what is important in the more global level, that we are all looking at the same thing so that we can compare and learn better from each other. Gina, do you want to complement with the indicators? Okay, please feel free.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Gabriela, for giving me the floor. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Gina Torregrosa, and I lead UNEP's work on sustainable public procurement. And the question on indicators is a very pertinent one. Just to summarize and concur with what Gabriela put forward, the idea is that we try to harmonize the data that we're collecting across different member states, understanding that there's a lot of challenges and gaps, but that there's also good technical capacity and initiatives advancing this area. And from UNEP's perspective, what we see that could be beneficial way forward is to see how some of these data collection efforts can already be embedded on the SDG 12.7.1 reporting, for example, to avoid the duplication of efforts and try to streamline. So working on one side on harmonizing and understanding what data collection points would be the most useful and practical, and then streamlining the collection of that efforts to already establish and embedded processes within the SDG framework. Over.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Gina.
Okay, we're almost at time. I note we've got some good resources available on the chat, IDDI's guidance and some of the OECD's public procurement performance measure work. So this is super. I don't see any other questions. I think that's it. I'll just say a few words. We're experiencing this in Canada very much, industry engagement. We have mechanisms. We've been using requests for information. We've been using sort of what we call agile procurement, which is to get suppliers in a room and talk with all of them about and be more iterative in the procurement. We also, in terms of measuring performance, have tried to distill it to very simple sort of ways, like how many of our big contracts have suppliers who disclose their emissions, how many departments have identified their high impact categories, and how many departments have taken measures to have developed criteria in those measures, for example. And we've we're assessing scope 3 emissions by department so that departments can actually action it in each department. So examples of those. And then, of course, in some areas which are high impact categories, it's easier to measure, like how much clean electricity are we buying, how much reduced emissions from lower carbon concrete and steel and things like that. So certain categories you can have very specific measures, and then other times it's kind of supplier based, and other times it's more measuring action by departments. So those are examples, but happy to share them more and be part of the conversation. Any last words, Gabriela, for your call to action? You had it on the last slide, but any last thing you want countries to go away with?
Yes, well, thank you again. In the idea, yes, call for action. We're gonna share with you the material and the link for the forums. We appreciate if you participate, and we are very welcome to have some bilateral meetings and understand who's going to be in COP, who has the interest to participate, and countries and initiatives that are willing to work on this path with us are very, very welcome. So this is the key point that message that would like to leave.
Perfect. Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you so much for that presentation. Is very exciting to see the world mobilizing. So with energy and support from Brazil and many other countries, that's super. And any way with the Greening Government Initiative could be helpful, we are super keen to distribute some of the work, share the materials, use this community of practice. Green procurement is one of the key areas that we work in, so we're very happy to you can consider us an extended family of the initiative. Super. So on that note, I'll just close maybe with a couple of notes. Feel free to let us know if you want to present some of the work your countries are doing at future Greening Government Initiative meetings. The next one will likely be probably early winter, unless we squeeze one in at the end of the fall, but it'll likely be early winter. Happy to have countries bring forward items that they want to speak to, or create working groups. Like green procurement would be one. We had a working group on fleet and had some good work done on buying electric vehicles, or looking at greening fleet. Happy to create working groups in different areas or connect with existing entities and organizations like the PASS and others. So provide feedback to us, connect with the GGI network, participate in, share with us materials that we can share with others, spread the word, and we have the link, of course, at the OECD website on GGI that we could provide more information to people, and we will try and share information that we receive. So we're happy to do that as well. Paulo, anything you want to close on?
Yeah, just briefly to mention that, as you know, in the last meeting, and this is the second one we are organizing together, of course, supporting the government of Canada. Thanks for this. So in the last meeting, we presented a framework for governing the green transition. And now we are coming up with a bit more in-depth work on one of the frameworks dimensions. So we are coming up with a paper on greening the public administration and services. So hopefully this will also help you understanding and bring you a cross-cutting framework and actionable recommendations for policymakers in terms of making their administrations more sustainable and environmentally friendly. So we hope this will be a contribution to the great efforts that we have seen throughout this webinar today, and looking forward to the next GGI meeting. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody. And from colorful fall in Canada, I wish everybody a good month and a good COP, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.